we on yet? It looks like we are on. What is going on, everyone? Flint Masters coming at you with the sixth episode, the sixth recap of Hell's Kitchen season 22, The American Dream. Unfortunately, like I said, I was hoping to have a special guest on today, but they couldn't make it. So we're hoping they're gonna be on for next week. So no guest again, as I said last week as well. It's busy time, obviously, for chefs, as you can imagine, with the holidays coming up. It's been very, very hard. It's to get some chefs on board. So unfortunately, it's just you're gonna be stuck with me in Ultra for tonight. But hey, you know what? I hope you guys can still enjoy regardless. Speaking of, always reliable Ultra. How you doing, man?
Doing good. Just happy to see a new episode, and yeah, there's quite a bit to talk about with this one.
Oh yeah, my goodness, is there a lot to talk about? Yeah, guys. So we got a hello from Caroline. What's going on, Caroline? Uh, yeah. All right, cool. This episode was a roller coaster for sure. It absolutely was. And that's the thing too. On paper, it's a pretty boring. Like the service itself was pretty boring, but the episode itself was an absolute roller coaster. So yeah, guys, like I said, got 16 here already. Thank you guys so much for showing up despite there being no guests. Like I said, as I'm sure you can imagine, right? It's just gonna be with me and Ultra talking. We don't want to talk the entire time. Bring your comments in, bring your questions in, and yeah, we'll get into this episode. So starts with the foreign cuisine challenge, the soccer thing. I always kind of like not only do I like when they like have the chefs like have like do athletic things because it's always kind of funny to see like pro chefs try to do some athletic type stuff as we saw with Jason. But Ultra, what do you think about the foreign cuisine challenge?
Uh, Foreign cuisine in general, I think, can be pretty intriguing because there's going to be so many times in past seasons where contestants will have like no experience with the food. Often it's the chefs who don't have a lot of experience with fine dining, anyways, but it's kind of funny when it's the other way around too. Like a chef with a lot of experience still not quite getting it, and especially with a fusion challenge, it does up the difficulty quite a bit. I remember in season 16 they had a fusion challenge where virtually every single dish just didn't quite work. I don't know if any of them are awful, but most of them were like, too many problems. It's not really sinking in. There's only Ryan's dish and then kind of Kimberly's dish. Hey, Happy. That worked back then. Here, there was a lot. It was a lot better. There were like a handful of dishes that didn't work, but several that did. Even a couple that didn't get points were still said, yeah, it's still good. It's just like maybe one element that's like could use a little work. So I did like seeing that level of talent, and I like seeing what people try to make from these dishes. And even then, they just sometimes didn't always work.
Yeah, again, I usually don't care about the challenges that much, but this is a really, really fun one. Being that it's always cool to see, other countries represented how they do it. So I really, really like this challenge. One thing I got to say, real quickly, this has nothing to do with the episode or anything like, when it comes to the edit and whatnot, but well, actually, it kind of does. What are the odds, like Jason missed like what 7 kicks before he like finally? I don't even remember what country he got, but like no, the funny thing was like that was so hard to miss. Like the countries like right next to each other, right? And like he somehow, some way, either hit the goalpost first or like somehow ran right between both countries. Like I was laughing my ass off. Like go figure, someone like Jason and the editors are having good fun with it. Like said, loves to work out with his big old, with his big old belly gut, beer gut and whatnot. It was just that was absolutely hilarious. So it's been a while since
I'll give Jason this. If you remove all the signs with the countries on them, he wasn't that bad technically. He was getting into the goal.
I can't believe it's
like, actual targets within the goal. So I guess you could say there's worse, but it was still pretty laughably bad. And it's like for what the promo the last episode showed about how people are going to be like ridiculing him, saying that they don't like him. It wasn't for the usual reason this time. They're just sort of mocking how bad he was at the challenge, which is a much more refreshing reason to be making those confessionals. Jason, I'd say, was probably a little better in this episode than a couple of the past ones. I mean, he made mistakes for sure and deserves a nomination, but otherwise he didn't do anything that insufferable.
Isn't it amazing though? Like in this, kind of brings up a good point. Like, I've been thinking about doing videos like this. Isn't it like amazing though? Like the one guy who like the editor's been clowning all season do his comments, like just so happens to be the guy that just like somehow misses 7 goals. Like, what are the odds of that? You know what I mean? The editors were just like probably like doing cartwheels when they saw this challenge happening in real time, right? When they got the footage for this, it's like this is perfect. And make the villain of the season so far look like a complete moron. Like that was just super funny. Like, what are the odds of that? So, all right, I just had to throw that out there because I just thought that was hilarious. So. All right, were you expecting anyone to do good or bad in particular this challenge?
I didn't really know what anybody's expertise level would be in the challenge.
Yeah, they didn't really. That
I,
was
I,
my problem. They didn't really talk about it to me too much about their like background.
yeah, the most I could do was gauge during the actual making of dishes who I thought was going to be making a good one. From Renisha's dish description, I was like, I don't think that's going to work. I've never tried that, but just when the way they highlighted it, I was like, yeah, that's just gonna tank. With Johnson, I was a little bit concerned at first. Apparently, his dish worked out fantastically.
Unbelievable.
With Sandra, I correctly guessed that her dish was going to fail, but I guessed in the opposite direction. By the way her lamb looked in that dish, I thought that was going to be burnt. I was off. It was raw, so totally wrong direction. Either way, it didn't work. I was like, yeah, just a mistake like that. Just I don't know. It's Sandra is making a heck of a lot of mistakes at this point in the competition. I'm a little amazed that she didn't go home in this episode, but I think that was a fair score. And to answer Frankie Seward's question, I probably shouldn't say about who I think is going home next because, again, I'm a little spoiled. So I already have an idea of who goes home next.
We won't say that.
But I will say the promo doesn't make things look good for a couple different members of the blue team. So that is something that I think everybody would probably keep in mind. The edit can always be deceiving, though. So, don't take everything into account with that.
All right, yeah. So a couple of things to take away from this challenge, at least for me, is we got again that when was the last time we had like an absolute undercooked dish at like a reward challenge? It's been like usually you have like mess ups, like a couple mess ups, but like that was like probably the worst reward challenge in a while from Sandra, who again like we were shocked that she survived last week. We'll talk about tonight her survival.
Well, I know at the very least, as far back as in the last season, we had O'Shea and his raw chicken wings.
Yeah, I guess that's that. But yeah, okay. So I guess that's
any later in that season. I don't remember outright. But I'm pretty sure every season has at least one reward challenge dish that's either completely raw or completely overcooked. Like maybe not every challenge itself, but like there's a challenge where that kind of thing is just bound to happen. It's not just going to be.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. I just can't. Usually, again, I just off the top of my head, like I remember, like the red team in season 10, like Gordon was just furious. They sent him like I forgot what it was, but he was like beyond furious. They sent him undercooked. So yeah, again, usually reward challenges you don't see mistakes that severe, And as we'll talk about, like that was a big reason why she got put up for elimination today, with how good the service was, and it's also one of those things. Even if like it was a bad service, like everyone else screwed up, which she still had gone up regardless, because of making such a bad dish, at that challenge. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting, how bad of a dish she made, especially, one rebound. We once again, and I'll ask you, Ultra, and this goes for the chat as well. We once again got Sammy, kind of feeling down about herself, but once again, she kind of came up and got a point for the red team. It wasn't a perfect dish by any means, but yeah, Ultra, what do you think this means for Sammy? Is this like a possible, again, just kind of hyping her up because she's an end gamer? Is this going to lead to something down the road? What kind of talk to me about how you feel about Sammy once again, yeah, go ahead.
I think that Sammy, I know she's got like a lot of great cooking skills. I am worried about at one point these maybe issues with her self-confidence might start to come back and bite her in the butt. I'm not saying I regret picking her in my part of the draft. I don't. I can see she has that talent, and I've seen chefs with far less confidence go far in the competition anyways. So I still say I would still see her as a front runner in some respects. But it is one of those things where I hope she understands how good she is in these challenges and services, because she hasn't really fumbled that far in any of them. So I hope she understands that, yeah, she's really good at this competition. Like, just like you got this. Don't worry about it.
Real quick, we'll talk about this later, but real quick, the preview for next week, as Patrick's saying, and I've seen a couple people say, it's like a big, it wasn't just like one romance storyline. My goodness, there's like, you had Jonathan going crazy over that girl, like Sammy's going crazy over like the rapper who's going to come in next week. And then it was funny, they went from like the big romance to like the next scene, they like to show the Jermaine and Devin getting into it, I think, the fight going on. So I thought that was just hilarious, just like complete 180 they did. So we'll see about next week. We'll definitely talk about that, but yeah. This is like I said, this was a pretty funny episode, all things considered, editing-wise, for sure. And, of course, what's not funny, though, in my opinion, is just how much Jonathan continues to dominate this season. Once again, it came down to his dish versus Carmen too, another big contender. And not only did Jonathan freaking win the challenge for his team, but he got the best dish on the menu tonight, right? Or was it something else? I can't remember.
I don't remember what on the menu, but it was deemed the best of the entire team, and it got him like an extra prize along with the reward he and his team had already won. Which, by the way, that I would be grading these chefs gave him an extra point in my eyes because I was like not necessarily every dish that would be called best of the best would get that kind of appeal, but if it's good enough to earn your own separate prize, that is something I would take into account majorly. I'm starting to wonder if Jonathan's just like downright unstoppable. I mean, I could be wrong. We've seen some chefs with like incredible freaking starts, like long starts too. Like it's not just like a quick burst and then flame out. But people like Steve, maybe in season 20, he had an amazing start and then tiered out like just barely by like the halfway point to a point where he goes home. And so could that happen with Jonathan? Potentially. I'm not really seeing it quite yet. I think he's
not seeing it, man. This is feeling like an Alex 2.0, just because it's not like he's just doing well. He's dominating the competition so far. It's kind of insane. So we'll see if he becomes an all-time great. But yeah, once again, the girls lose their fourth in a row, I believe.
Yeah, fourth in a row.
So is this, and it really hasn't been talked about yet by Ramsey at all. I mean, obviously you hear comments from the girls like how they keep losing, right? But do you think this is going to possibly be a storyline this season? Maybe not like season 11 blue team, but when do you see their red team winning a challenge? Are they going to lose? Like, how many challenges do you think they're going to win at this point? Because it's not looking good so far.
Depending on the blow that happens in the promo, depending on if that's for like a reward challenge or for the service. If it's for reward service, and that might show they could win the very next episode. I don't actually know though. I honestly kind of thought they'd win this one. Like I had faith that John's would be good. I figured maybe Carmen could outdo him. But then he outdid her, and I was like, never mind. Like Jonathan's just kicking butt as usual. So yeah, I'm starting to think like maybe the blue team could just completely run away with this, and it is from just the strongest links on the team, like Jonathan or Ryan or Demir. Like that, like they've all got this.
Do you? This is a question from Party Pickles Ultra, the stat guy. Do you know the longest red team losing streak in history? Because again, they've obviously red team is dominated.
7 red team.
Because
if we're talking like. For one, I know that they won their first challenge and service. Well, actually, the first service technically in episode 4 of season 7. I mean, it was a joint win, so they could take that as a win. I still count as a win because no one goes home. Afterwards, I think they lost the next reward, next service, next reward, next service. Then they won the next reward because Benjamin swaps over. So I guess it kind of depends on if you're counting just rewards, just services, or them combined. Because then I don't quite know off the top of my head, but I could always check. I know at least 4 is a pretty bad losing streak.
Especially for the red team. I think I remember season 14 might have, like, despite how dominant they were, like with like T and Michelle and Megan, I think they also struggled. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Like in services, they did fair about the same as the blue team. In rewards, they lost the first one, signature dish, won the next 4 in a row. So that means that their losing streaks could only go like one at a time for a little bit. Then I think they lost. I think they lost maybe a service or reward, then a service afterwards. Again, it's something I have to like absolutely. Yeah. I'll trade 90 biggest losing streaks and chefs who suffered the most punishments. That I could definitely do because like that's something I can easily actually do the math on. But again, I do it like in a ratio. I would try and make sure it's like proportional to how many rewards and losses they could have gotten. But don't be surprised if I make that kind of video to see a bunch of chefs who were just on the losing teams in their season. And I'd have to consider, like, would that be straight through of reward service, or rewards and then services like that? It's not easy math to figure out, but it's something I probably could figure out.
For sure. All right, there was a comment here. I feel like I missed it. I just lost my train of thought. I was going to ask you something, but I lost my train of thought. So with that said, we'll go on to the Bubble Soccer Reward. This episode just continues to make me laugh even more. Was this even a reward? Like, my goodness, like just watching that. I know it's, we'll talk about Brad in a second here, but just looking at that looks pretty dangerous. I mean, Ultra, have you ever done something like this?
Well, it's not the first time I've seen anything like this in Hell's Kitchen. I know the season 9 Red Team had Zorbing once, which is kind of like this, except your whole body is in these giant plastic inflated balls and whatnot. I've never seen it happen where like you're crashing into people. Like I'm trying to think, what does this look like to me? It's almost like you're your own action figure, just like boom, 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 boom. Like I'm not really sure what that would look like. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about this wrong, but
it looks bad because I was getting Cheyenne flashbacks. Like again, like it looks fun, right? But like again, these chefs are not exactly athletes. You know what I mean? If you're not used to like tumbling around like that, again, I don't know how safe it looks, but like from what we saw, it looked like pretty not like violent, but like definitely it could have had effect on if you're not used to that. I don't know. I obviously I'd never been a part of it. But,
honestly, even safe rewards or rewards you could argue are safe have led to injuries in the past in Hell's Kitchen. Like with Brett in season 14, he went on an ice skating reward right before his exit that season. I think he had like one tumble, and it looked like he was fine initially. Probably just walked it off a little bit, and then later on, just one wrong turn in the bathroom, and it led to that. And I think it's been said, don't quote me on this, but I think it was said that that one tumble sort of led to his the flare above his disc. So yeah, I you can never be too safe. I like at this point the safest reward would just be like a day off or like a massage or something like that. But you never know.
Well, even then, like something could happen. If you walk up the stairs wrong, like Kevin, like you could injure yourself. Like again, stuff happens, but like that's the thing about this stuff. Like I just like it looked fun. I'm sure I'd have a blast, but like I don't know. I felt like this could lead to something. And literally, it looked like it did for Brad as we're getting there.
I mean, they did paintball a few times in Hell's Kitchen. Yeah. I've done paintballing. It's
I have too. Yeah,
if you get hit by those actual paintballs, it's painful. So
yeah, no. Yeah, but at least like again in that case, it's like you're just getting hit and hurts in the moment. Like you're actually getting like again you saw they're like tumbling around all over the place. We got I saw Fury's been looked like she's been doing she or he whoever you are has been doing the work. It looks like 5 losses in a row. So yeah, that could very well be the record. So yeah, that's surprising if this is true from Fury. That's surprising that the Red Team season 14 Red Team likely holds the record. So we'll see if the season 22 Red Team ties it or even breaks it in the future. All right, so now let's talk about the big character moments. And obviously, they end up being huge character moments given the outcome of this episode. We got Brad saying he wasn't feeling really well. We got Renisha, not only like after reward, thinking about not wanting to quit, doing this for her family, but even during the reward, we got a flashback package of her family and whatnot, So, what did you think? Obviously again you're kind of spoiled on the season, but what did you think this meant for these two? Did you think this meant like one, if not both of them, were in serious trouble today? Did you think this is like, especially for Renisha specifically, she's been kind of we'll start with her. She's been kind of a firecracker so far, and she finally got like a human moment. So what do you think this meant for Renisha?
Yeah, from the way they highlight that, I was like, that's a fairly random thing to bring up, especially when you've been kind of not performing all that well throughout the competition. She's not terrible by any means, and I loved watching Renisha, but she was making a couple too many mistakes that felt kind of rookie-ish to me. I might not be a chef. I'm just going off of what I've seen in past seasons. So showing that human moment with like no real lead-in and no outright success beforehand, it did give me confidence about her staying in this round. And with Brad and his injury, my first thought was, oh, he's going home. It's sad to see him go home this way, but it's happening because it reminded me like almost directly of what happened with Peter in season 19, where, I mean, he didn't get injured, but he talks about how he doesn't know if he's caught for this competition and he thinks he might have to leave. He doesn't at the time, but he does he does do so shortly afterwards. And I'm like, yeah, they didn't show that just for nothing. Like that was build up. So I do think the editors were at least trying to transition into making these eliminations seem more natural, especially given Renisha, this was her first nomination as opposed to Sandra's third.
Yo, I forgot about this too, man. This was a hilarious episode. I thought that was like Tad. I don't know if that was reference for. It was really quick, but I assume that's what they meant. That was hilarious.
Yeah, if you look at it very closely, it was not just a broomstick, but it was how he was literally right in the broom when he was showing them his Quidditch moves. And I was like, okay, that's a nice little touch there. It's a blink and you'll miss it kind of thing. Anybody who missed it live, if you go back and watch the episode like tomorrow or something, you can catch it at that exact moment when Devin is talking about I believe it was Devin on Me Station. He's talking about cook stuff a lot faster when you're that far ahead of schedule. And it's like I did find that a pretty funny random way to mention. Oh, by the way, Tab was in this prior, so I did think that was funny though.
Legend lives on. Yo, real quick, guys, I gotta say this. We have over 90 viewers right now. I was not expecting this with, again, like being just me and Ultra. So I'm glad. It makes me so happy. That makes me feel so good. You guys are still coming out to talk with us, despite not having any guests. Like I said, I hope to get, as many guests on as I can in the future. But if not, it might just be me and Ultra. So thank you so much. This is really, obviously, the chat's firing. So thank you so much. Oh my God, right when I said that, now we are at over 100 viewers. So that was great timing. So that's really cool. I don't know that the Hell's Kitchen guys are watching me on that one. So thank you all so much for being here. Again, subscribe if you haven't already. Obviously, hopefully you are subscribed if you're here, but subscribe if you haven't. And so I kind of agree with you. I definitely think Brad, again, that was an out of nowhere kind of like Peter type quitting type thing in season 19, where like they show like out of nowhere, like Peter was talking about, he missed his family, so that led to something. I feel like that was pretty obvious. Brad was going home. I was kind of wondering about Renisha, how she would respond, because again, she, like I said, she had been a firecracker all season, right? But then she finally got a sympathetic moment. So I didn't know if this is the beginning of like a face turn for her, or if indeed was like going to be like, she's going to be booted real quickly, if not this episode. The thing was, like we'll get into, I was not expecting there to be 2 boots this episode. If there was, then this would have been obvious. But so speaking of that, let's talk about why I was surprised that there was 2 boots this episode. Because we had our best service yet, Ultra. So real quick, let me ask you this, and chat, this goes for you. Do you like, because I've never been a fan of, like, again, that's why I love the show, is like seeing the train wreck services. But I always find it interesting, especially when we did the season rankings, right? A lot of people seem like talented seasons, right? So what do you think of, like, these kind of like boring dinner services where like nothing's happening, but you see a lot of good stuff. Like you see a lot of standout performances from people like Danya, from people Demir or whatnot. So, and this goes for you again, chat. What do you kind of think of these, good services?
For me, as long as we are getting something that I feel is going to lead somewhere else in the season, I don't see them as like a waste of television by any means. Like if let's first say, again, we're representing a lot from like prior seasons, but in season 13 at the final 11, before Steve gets medically evacuated, that was an episode where both teams won. The red team did a little worse, but not phenomenally bad by any means. It was just like a few mistakes on Salad with Frank, and then Sterling needing a little bit of help from Latasha during service. They lost, but despite them having to nominate people, he sent them back in line because I was like, you know what, y'all actually did fine. And that one, I felt, while it had a few entertaining moments, it didn't really feel as though it was entertaining enough for me to remember much about it. Whereas with this one, I do remember a lot of the vocal leadership of Danya and Demir and a few of the smaller screw-ups from Jason, Jermaine, and Renisha. So it's not a total loss in my opinion. Like it can be if there's nothing else to work with, but I thought there was quite a bit to work with there.
Yeah, like I said, we'll obviously get to eliminations here in a second. Say what you will about how unfair it was, but again, due to like how good the service was, I was shocked that they even had nominations to begin with. The fact that we got an elimination was pretty shocking. So we'll get in that here in a second. Let's talk about service though. Renisha, once again, really the only mistakes was her on the Red Kitchen whatnot, and correct me if I'm wrong there, but I believe she was the only one there who messed up on the fish a couple of times. We saw Jermaine make his first, like, I know like he had a problem last week, but that was his first individual mistake, I believe, right? Or no, last week he did the tinfoil, right?
Yeah, tinfoil on the Wellingtons, which I saw tinfoil or aluminum foil, I should say, over the lamb that Brad was cooking. I don't know if I've seen that before. I know I've seen aluminum foil over certain dishes before, so I'm not entirely sure, but it's but yeah, he hasn't been messing up that much so far in the competition. So it was kind of surprising to see that from him.
And then Jason with the overdone fish. But overall, like, again, a very, very good service, right? So Obviously service ended early. So, but as you saw, there was like 20 minutes left in the episode at that point. So, what were you thinking? And chat, this goes for you. Were you thinking it was going to be indeed be a Brad Medevac? Did you think something crazy was going to happen? You know, with like we're still going to get elimination despite. Well, I mean, what were you kind of thinking after service ended?
I figured after Brad excused himself from the competition, I know Gordon said to give me your jacket, but I knew what this was. It was him saying that I understand your health's more important. If that is what it is, then we have to send you home, dude. But best wishes. After that, I was thinking that they'd nominate people and then they'd say, you know what, all of you back in line. Mistakes and whatnot, y'all did actually very well this service. I don't think I should be sending any of you home. And then it would progress as it should for the next episode. But no, apparently he decided that maybe at least one elimination was warranted. And I'm going to guess it might have been challenge performances that really tipped the scale for him as to maybe still cutting someone from the competition, because Renisha was doing kind of bad in that department for a little bit. Like just a couple too many rookie dishes, in my opinion. And it's a shame because while I do agree she's a firecracker, being a firecracker is not the same thing in Hell's Kitchen as outright being a bad person. It often is. But Kimberly from season 16 was also a firecracker. She also got into like a lot of fights with a lot of people. She was not really a villain by any means. She was always staying up for herself or taking down the actual villains in the season. So you can have a large, fiery personality without necessarily being a villain.
Real quick, I guess I was talking about the service. I forgot to let's go back to service real quick. We got so we talked about Demir like stepping up possibly. He finally got his like big standout moment here leading his kitchen. Not running best of the worst, but obviously pretty much did with Ramsey calling up after service. And Danya, this was Danya's episode, it seemed, right? She got a lot of confessionals, it seems. Her and her rivalry, not rivalry, but like her dish going up against Jermaine was highlighted for some reason, which was cool. And again, the big standout moment here on Meat. So yeah, what do you think about this means for these two? Does this raise your bar for any of these two going forward? When it comes to
for Danya, definitely. Honestly, I'd probably put her above Sammy in this ranking because because at least Danya's confidence is raised. She might have one nomination, but so it's like you can still be nominated and still win the competition. Christina from season 4 was nominated in the second episode, and she won. I believe Trenton was kind of sort of nominated in season 20 from Chicken Gate. Again, that's a little asterisk there, but you know what I mean. So being nominated even early in the competition is not a deal breaker for a winning chef. And I see a lot of leadership potential from her. She's got a strong enough edge where she could keep going. Her dishes are consistently pretty good in the challenges. She had one kind of bad night amongst a sea of other bad nights. So I actually think she could do pretty well. And Carmen's doing pretty well too. Whatever attitude she had has been nixed at this point in the competition. And I'm really happy to see that. I still think that Sammy could go the distance. And it's just that from this service, Danya impressed me, Carmen impressed me, and of course, Demir impressed me.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think Demir. I mean, let me ask you this: is Demir now behind like Sammy and Jonathan for you? As I think he's for me, he's overtaken Ryan at this point. Chad, this goes for you as well.
Yeah, I think he's overtaken Ryan and probably Sammy. If I were to maybe redo my ranking a little bit, I probably would have gotten Demir a little sooner. I forget. Let me see. I think I have the order written up here. I could have picked Demir because I picked Danya and then Ruby picked Demir. Honestly, I kind of am more satisfied with picking Demir at this point, but with picking Danya at this point. But maybe I would have had Danya be my second pick and Demir be my second at that point. That might have made it more even because again, I'm kind of a sitting duck here with nothing but red team members currently in my draft.
I could see it. Wouldn't this be something we get all male final two for the first time since Scott and Jason and Jonathan Demir? That would be quite something. Yeah, maybe not number 2. I still have Sammy as number 2, but he's definitely sharp. I definitely think he's overtaken Ryan at this point and everyone else. I can't remember where we had him in our like rankings, like who picked him, like what like order he came in, but like he definitely was not top 5. I don't think so.
Demir was the second person picked for Ruby, which means he was not the 6th person picked.
Okay, so but still. Now I think if we had to do it again, I definitely think we all would be trying to get him for number 3, if not number 2. So, yeah, chat. Let me know what you guys think about Demir, and for that matter, Daniel. Do you think this could be a breakout for Daniel as well? And if they could both not only just get black jackets, but be in winter contention when it's all said and done. But someone who unfortunately won't be in winter contention, but will live on all our hearts, as probably one of the most likable chefs of this season. Let's give it up for Brad. So, Ultra fan favorite in the. It was always funny for the chat these past couple weeks when he got unfairly eliminated, nominated. Right, all the Brad comments, supporting Brad. And the thing about him for me is like on paper, like just looking at him, you don't really expect him to be the sympathetic type guy, lovable, type guy who has like the Aaron stereotype. You know what I mean? Like again, I don't know how old he is, but like usually that's for the people with inexperience. Again, for his archetype, you just don't really see that. So a very interesting run for Brad, who's really seemed to hit a stride, right? So, Ultra, what do you think about Brad this season? And this goes for chat as well. How far do you think he would have made it had it not been for his sickness that he came upon?
I think he could have made it at least past the next service or two. I don't think he would have made it to the Black Jackets. I think probably the halfway point of the competition at most, to the point where he'd be part of the final service at the very least, like among the 2 brigades that would be picked. But I did see a lot more potential with him. In fact, if I could have updated my injury comebacks video I made recently, I think I would have included him. I don't know if tied with G, but like maybe right beneath G, because it's almost like the exact same situation. Like he got injured right before service, wanted to do his best to try and make it through, and he technically did. He did pretty damn well. I think he made like one small mistake. Nothing that got brought to the pass. It's just like a small little cooking error, but otherwise he did really well. His team were pretty successful in service. I don't even think he would have been nominated, to be honest. So yeah, I would say that he was a very commendable chef who did bounce back from an injury, even if he did choose to leave after the fact or was asked to leave. I'm really happy with what we got from Brad. I'm sad that he got nominated the way he did, like as a pawn that one time. He deserved better than that, and thankfully the fan base likes him. He's got like energy and just a really good heart.
For sure, yeah, and that's say what you will. I'm sure he's disappointed, but for an early boot, he obviously got a lot of fan favorite. And again, that's just not usually something you expect from his archetype. You know what I mean? So really, it would be so interesting. That's going to be a big what if. Like again, I personally don't think he would, with how talented the season is. Unfortunately, as unfair as it is, when you do struggle early on, you're just naturally on thin ice compared to the likes of like a Ryan Demir who's dominating. So if you're like staying next to one of them, like you're probably gonna go home. But like again, he was not showing signs of slowing down, like cooking wise too. So I've been really interested to see. If I had to guess, I probably would have said Cook for Your Life. I'm kind of getting Ileana type vibes from him. Obviously the first Cook for Your Life, but yeah, I don't know. It would have been very interesting. That would have been quite a story had he be able to, get to the even top 8, if not Black Jackets, or just miss out on the Black Jacket with an emotional goodbye, kind of similar to like Nikki in season 19. So unfortunately, we'll never know. But again, Brad, fan favorite this season. So, and it's very rare to be a fan favorite, despite only lasting 6 episodes. But yeah, cool. Well, not cool that he's gone, but yeah. So let's get on now into afterwards. After Brad was eliminated, obviously with the time I knew they're gonna be nominees, but Ultra, I gotta ask in chat. This goes for you. Did you actually think there's going to be any more eliminations that night? Because I had no doubt in my mind that it was going to be like a Brad was gone. Good service as a wake-up call for all you 4 or whoever's nominated. If not, maybe even a team switch. So, Ultra, what were you thinking was going to happen after Brad was eliminated and Gordon still asked for nominees?
I think they would have all been asked to go back in line. That's what I was expecting. So when he called Renisha forward, I was like, that's a shame. I mean, not that I don't understand it at all, because it's a good service or not, she was making mistakes and she didn't really perform to her potential. So I get it. And I'm not going to say like it's an unfair elimination by any means. I guess questionable at worst, because if the service was like decently that good enough, I don't know if that makes any sense, but we've seen chefs go home after their team was deemed to have a good service before. Like not them, but the team in general. So I don't know. Like
Daniel brings up a good
point. I think maybe Renisha could have earned a second chance, but you never know.
Daniel brings up a good point saying the show must go. Now, obviously, like again, obviously Ramsey, especially in the past, right? When they have good services, especially this early on, he'll, give, especially since someone already went home that night, right, with the Brad's elimination, right? He'll kind of spare. It's kind of similar again to like a Peter after season 19. After he left, it was good service. No one else went home that night. You know what I mean? So he'll give people a second chance. I guess I just now thought of though, like this is the first season since season 18, where obviously season 19, 20, and 21, there was a double boots, right, with the the cook for not the challenge elimination followed by a service, right? So I guess he needed that kind of early boots, I guess, that double boots to kind of keep the season going. Which is
in season 18? I'm trying to remember.
No, not in season 19, 20, and 21, because they all, at least at this point, right? Because they all had the cook. Remember the first elimination challenge, and then the first person eliminated after service, right?
Oh, right. There was, season 19 had that too with not just Kenneth and Elliot, but also with Drew and then Brittany.
Yeah, so even in that case, right? And I'm trying to, in fact, let me look that up. Did they have? So yeah, they had a double boost. So season 19 was really falling behind schedule at that point. So yeah, like I said, it could have been either way. So I guess that's the main reason why someone still went home, despite. I guess had this been any other like situation, he probably would have given a second chance. But with the schedule, whatnot, you got to do what you got to do. Unfortunately, if we live in a perfect world where after every good service you could survive, then that'd be awesome. But that can't always be how it goes, unfortunately, for the chef. So, and unfortunately, one would suffer for tonight. So let's talk about the nominees. Who did you think was going to be nominated from each team?
Renisha, absolutely. I was kind of thinking it'd be Otoye and not Sandra. I mean, not that Otoye did anything right that wrong. It's just that she happened to be on Fifth Station, so you think she might have been like a collateral nomination. But them nominating Sandra because she's been kind of rocky as well, I think that makes enough sense. On the blue team, I was pretty confident it'd be Jason, just because of a couple small errors. And then between Jermaine and Devin, I was kind of getting more Jermaine would probably be up there. Again, working alongside Jason on the Fish Station. And Devin's errors were only really because they were too far ahead of schedule and weren't really communicating with him. So I don't think that would have made any sense to nominate Devin over Jermaine in that specific instance.
Yeah.
So I think these nominations do make sense.
Yeah, I think, again, these are kind of like the four perfect nominations just based on what we've seen so far. These seems like the four weakest people left in the competition at this point. And yes, I mean, we kind of already said it. Like, did you think anyone was going to go home? Did you think we were going to see a team swap? And yeah, I think that's what I was kind of thinking. I was thinking maybe a team swap of some sort. Especially for like Renisha with her whole backstory. Okay, you started firecracker on the red team. We're going to build you up as like a sad character, sympathetic. Now put you on the blue team, see what you can do with your final chance. That's what I was kind of expecting. And maybe even Jason on the red team. Boy, would that have been something.
That would have been something. I'm not going to lie. I think that really should only happen on a service that has like a large plethora of problems. I don't really see swaps happening on good services. Well, if both teams have a good service. If one team has a good service and the other one has a really bad service, that makes sense because you're going to usually pick the best chef from that team to go to the losing team to try to get them a few wins for once, like with Benjamin in season 7 to the red team. And ironically, I didn't really help that much, but it's the idea that I at least understand. Because this was kind of good and neither team outright needed that much improvement, losing streak for the red team aside, I don't think a team swap here would have been likely.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that because I feel like, after a bad service, that's when you should not give people another chance, right? If you're already messing up, team's not going to. Now, if it's like your first mess up, okay, I can get it, right? But, had these four been up for elimination, they all messed up, right? They're all the weakest people, right? So the fact that they had a good service, the fact that, Brad already went home, this, in my opinion, would be like the perfect time for a team swap, right? So that's what I was kind of hoping for. We'll talk about Renisha here in a second, but Darcy's been saying this whole time. Jermaine's clearly next. Darcy, I don't know if you got money on that or something, but boy, Darcy's very, very confident about that prediction. So I hear you, Darcy. We'll talk about predictions next week. But yeah, prediction I did not expect. I was very, very shocked when Renisha got called by Ramsey and it wasn't a fake out. She once again got eliminated. This season, even in like the boring episodes, or at least not as chaotic episodes, right? I'm still getting shocked. Like last week with Melissa, I was shocked. And a double boots here with Renisha. In retrospect, it makes sense. But again, I was not expecting another boots after Brad. So yeah, let's give it up for Renisha. Where's she at? I should have been Renisha, the sixth boot of the season, right? So what's your thoughts? And this goes for you, chat. What's your thought about Renisha? Very interesting character this season. Again, a very big firecracker early on, but kind of turned it around. Kind of got a good, send off this episode. The editors didn't, as much as the editors had fun this episode, they kind of gave her time. So, what's your thoughts about Renisha this season?
I personally liked watching her, kind of in a similar way that I liked watching Kimmy in season 10. It's not that you liked her as a personality, it's that she did bring a heck of a lot of entertainment on both the good and kind of bad side. Honestly, I don't even know about bad for Renisha, because there was never any moment where I saw her and I was like, oh, I thought you were way out of line. You could argue there were times where she was, like in the second reward challenge where they lost and she snapped at Carmen. I think there was enough buildup to where that kind of made sense. And yeah, I personally had a lot of fun watching her. I would have liked to have seen her go further. She had just enough like dynamite in her persona to where I feel like she could have been kept around as just a really entertaining TV personality. But yeah, her cooking mistakes were kind of getting a little ahead of her, and we're not really short on entertaining people this season, in my opinion, because you still got Carmen, you still got. I think Danya's fairly entertaining. You got Jason on his team. I'm not sure who else would be on the same level of entertainment. People love Jonathan, but not because he's entertaining. It's because he's just a really good guy and a really good chef. But that's enough for me. I would say maybe we're gonna lose a little bit of something, but I don't know. Like anything can happen in this show. I'm at least happy with what I saw from her.
For sure. I really like Renisha. Again, kind of the perfect where she's like a villain, a snappy attitude. Not a villain, but like has that snappy attitude, but obviously passionate a bit. Again, doesn't mean no harm, it seems. Kind of what I look for in when I look for villains or just kind of fun characters. So it stinks we lost her. Again, I was so hoping she would get another second chance on the blue team, or at least just get a second chance in general, just see how the storyline would go. But alas, it's not meant to be. So Ultra, kind of give me your overall thoughts on this episode. Again, a very interesting episode, a double boot. Despite it being the best service so far, we lost two pretty big characters now, albeit like kind of weaker chefs, but two pretty big characters. So yeah, kind of give me your thoughts about this episode and thoughts about the season going forward. How this episode, whether good or bad for some certain chefs, how it affects your perception of the season.
I thought the challenge was entertaining, especially for its mistakes. I thought the eliminations were fairly shocking. We might have gotten them built up, but I still wasn't expecting them going into the episode at the very least. And yeah, maybe it was a little bit tame in the middle, especially with the really good service and then the reward challenge, which I personally don't think I would have enjoyed much. I'm actually trying to remember, like, how much of punishment did we even see from the red team? Because I don't remember much.
Right.
That's usually something they put a lot of focus on. So I can't say it's the best episode of the season so far, but it's definitely not like a dozer or anything. It's still something that kept my interest. I do think the season could still keep the momentum it's been going so far. It's hard to do that when you had like a strong start like they did, but it's not impossible. If I had to just so far right now, maybe give a ranking of like where the season lands amongst all of them, I remember putting season 5 at like 9th in my ranking by default. I still love it. It was just like by default. It might go right underneath that so far, right underneath it.
I'm sorry. I was getting distracted by that. I'm sorry. We're getting all distracted in the comments. Where'd you have it in your rankings?
I'd have it at 10th at this point, 10th out of 22 seasons. And it's still a very high rating, in my opinion. It's just below season 5, in my opinion. And I love season 5 as well. It's only that low kind of by default because I had to like really like, I had to make some tough cuts when it came to that.
Yeah, we're gonna have some. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. I saw all the lead comments. And I was like, I gotta say, she's like, I don't know, Ultra, do you agree? She's probably like one of the hottest contestants I've ever seen on the show, if not like literally top 5. My goodness, Lee.
Oh, Lee. I think she's attractive. I'm not gonna like if I had to pick like most attractive, I don't think I'd make a video like that personally because I feel
God, that's what's coming next. Yo, we gotta do that for next like 15 minutes on here. And I gotta say, yo, DXSTI, he's saying Carmen's low key hot. No, she's not low key hot. She's another smoke show. Yo,
I find her attractive, definitely.
No, we got and I think even the females can agree. Like I know everyone loves Ryan with his accent. He's really handsome as well too.
He is good looking.
Yeah, but I mean, as straight males, we got lucky this season. Like this past couple of seasons, not been many, but we got what Sammy, Carmen, and Leah, like literally two of like in my opinion the hottest chefs to be on the show. So I had to say that. I can't wait to see the chat. I completely got off topic there, but I literally couldn't help myself with that because again, we finally get some attractive contestants, and Lee's invisible. Like, come on, let her be on screen for God's sakes. If you're gonna show Jason, all this time, give us some Lee as well. My goodness. All right, so all right, I gotta talk about it. All right, I can't wait to read these comments. Oh my god, yeah, we also see female hero Ryan's really cute for sure. Yo, yeah, I know. I'm sorry, I got off track. Like I said, guys, I'm so slap happy right now. I'm genuinely so happy. All these comments are here for just me and Ultra again. And it really makes me feel happy. So, but yeah, for God's sakes, I guess next time yeah, like what? I guess for my next video soon, I'll have to do an attractive female list because now I guess I've already kind of given a spoiler to who like two of my top 5 would be. So, all right, cool. So let's get back on track here. Of course, there's really not much else to say, I guess, but I guess I will say, what's your thoughts going forward? Because again, speaking of attractive, like I said, all these love confessionals are for next week or whatnot. So we'll see what happens there. But it looks like we could be in for a big fight next week and possibly another bad service after doing so well. So what do you think, Ultra? Are we in for while I read these comments, are we in for for another bad service and the men are going to continue to go? We're going to see like a Jermaine versus Devin kind of foil next episode. Kind of give your predictions for next week.
I do think that Devin and Jermaine are going to be in a fight. I think there might be a little bit of other chefs in the kitchen too. I remember somewhere in the promo for this season that Demir got into it once or twice. This could be the time where that happens. As far as all the romance stuff goes, I'm sure a lot of it's inflated and like maybe they're going to be starstruck by whatever celebrity comes into the kitchen. That's normal, especially if they're like really attractive. Like David Beckham was once a chef, was once a guest at the chef's table in one of his seasons. Even the women from the red team in that season who liked women were like, this guy's absolutely gorgeous. So this kind of stuff is just bound to happen no matter what. I honestly kind of hope that it's just inflated because romance in Hell's Kitchen never quite works out. I can think of maybe a few times, maybe, where an attraction between chefs or from a chef at the very least didn't outright weird me out. Cody and Mary Lou season 19 are absolutely adorable. I sort of like how much Richard in season 12 loved Angie Harmon. I thought that was cute. And then there was Hassan's crush on the wedding planner in season 15. I was like, oh my God, you like, I don't know why. This makes me kind of squeak. But most other times it's either cringe or like not really worth the plot, like Jared and Ashley. Don't care for it. I don't know why we focused on that.
I saw someone make a comment, romance video. Yeah, 100%. I think I said that last year too, because I think during Valentine's Day was the finale. So I did like, a finale video, but I definitely plan on doing that in the future, doing a romance video in the future. Because all of them are pretty much cringe other than Cody and Mary Lou. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know
far from cringe as you can possibly get. Like I adored watching those two together.
Yeah, I know. It was awesome. Yeah, for sure. I just had to make that comment. Of course, this discussion got completely out of hand. Yo, guys, real quick, let me know in the comments if you want to have a discussion for the next 10 minutes on most attractive contestants. I'll just give me a top 5 list for a.
I'm gonna go down the line maybe a little bit and I'll try and give like male and female. I'm like what no matter I'm straight, but it's like still I can probably say what I think on that level. From season 1, I don't know if I'd say any of the guys were all that good looking. Women, I thought Carol Ann was fairly attractive.
You're really gonna go through these. This is amazing.
Season 2, Virginia, that's kind of an obvious one. Like she was absolutely beautiful. The guy.
Yeah, dude, no, hold on. I'm clipping this. We're gonna make this a own video. This is hilarious. Oh my God. All right, keep going.
Maybe Gabe as well from season 2. Maybe at the very least he was charming, so that kind of would help. Season 3, I think Joanna was fairly attractive. Melissa could be attractive, when her hair was like not an absolute wild mane. From the men's team, maybe Brad. Honestly, I could see Rock being attractive there too. In season 4, you would think I'd say Sharon, but no, I'm not gonna lie. The fact that she put on that much makeup, I don't know. I'm not saying makeup's bad. It's just like I sort of prefer like a more natural beauty. That's just me. So I feel as though with that much on, it's like, come on, you don't like. I'm sure you look nice without that. That's all. I'm not sure about any of the other women. Christina from season 4 was pretty cute to me. I think Roseanne has a bit of a hotness factor to her.
I want to check about like forgetting hot chefs. Freaking Danielle from season 10. My God, was she a smoke show? I think people forget about her. At least in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe
I prefer Dana, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see that, but I mean, for early boot, Jessica next season doing a 1-arm push-up, that's really impressive.
Was it? I don't think it was 1-armed. I think she was doing it with both arms, but it was still kind of cool because they were. That was like perfect freaking form from her. And then Ava's absolutely gorgeous from season 20.
Well, she's a freaking like bodybuilder model, yeah. So I'd hope she'd be gorgeous. Freaking trying to think of something like underrated because obviously you got like the Hollies of the world, like the Melanies. One of my alts because she's so adorable. I say this in my videos too. Amanda, season 6, she's adorable.
She's adorable.
Not exactly hot, but like she's adorable for sure.
Yeah, she is. I'm trying to think. Season 7. Autumn's beautiful. I love.
Ladies, if you want to get involved, let me know some attractive male chefs as well. Like other than Raj, because we all know Raj is number 1. The season 14 cast was really good. I remember Josh in the beginning was like Sarah's beautiful.
Sarah was
Christine's another one.
Honestly, I could see it from Megan too. Allison, yeah, I thought Allison looked pretty cool. Although the times when you would see her without her makeup and like the extra like eyeliner she'd have on her, that threw me off a little bit. But no, I was like still like no, like I give you like a 10 out of 10 for your looks.
If anyone's in the Discord right now, or tell the Discord to join to get involved, so we can like keep this going for. We'll do this for like 5 more minutes, I guess. But this is
Melanie from season 12 definitely was very. Honestly, I'm gonna say Rochelle, and it's not just personality. Like I don't know, she looked adorable. She acted adorable. She looked adorable.
Real quickly, Chad. Like my goodness, I didn't know. I'm a straight male, and I can.
His name is Chad. But
his jawline was insane. My God, like that's incredible for a chef to look like that. That's
honestly, I'd say Hassan if we're gonna talk guys from season 15.
Okay.
Like I can see him. I can see him being called attractive. Not Frank though. I'm sorry. Like as buff as he is, I'm like no. Like attractive or not, like there's just something about how he held himself where I was like, you're compensating way too much for something.
Let me ask the chat this too, because that's another hottest cast in general. Because season 15, you got Manda, you got Ashley, you got Kristen. So that's like the big 3 there. We talked about season 14. I think it has to be one of those 2 seasons, right? Like I said, Manda.
Let me think. I liked Katie in season 13.
She's another forgotten one. I know Scott, like it was a hot male winner for sure. I saw that. Yeah, I know. I remember Nedra.
Ryan, obviously from season 16.
Oh yeah.
Let me think. Who else was there?
We need to rank the next winners.
Ashley in seasons 15 and 17. 15 and 17. Let me think. In season 18, Kanae was adorable. I loved watching her. Mia was gorgeous. I loved watching her. Honestly, even kind of Gizzy. Like I'm not sure why, but I thought Gizzy looks really good. Mary Lou, absolutely fantastic in season 19. Who else was there?
Bryn. I love Bryn from 20.
Yeah, Bryn from 20 is really good. It's kind of like I don't know. I wonder if that's like kind of easy because they're like younger. No, it's not fair. You can be older and still be attractive, obviously.
Yeah. Like older attractive chefs.
This might sound weird, but Colleen.
Yes, 100. Yes.
Yeah, I was like, I see looks in Colleen when she mentioned she was a cheerleader. I was like, I can see that. Like that kind of works.
That's amazing. Oh my God. No, yeah. I'm definitely gonna do. We have to do this now. This is absolutely. This is what I get. I just had to say that about Lee. I couldn't help myself because I agree. It's like I want her on our screen, on my screen more. We finally got attractive contestants, and they're being invisible. You got like Leah making Leah invisible. So,
I mean,
oh my
I hear
God.
like a lot from like other reality shows where they're like, where you'll hear some people be like, you should only be casting attractive contestants, and there's like a big backlash from other people like that. Honestly, as long as they're good TV and you can make good TV from them, I don't care.
We went from talking about this episode to what is we done? This is what we get for not having guests on, guys. We had to have some fun here. This is hilarious.
Hey, like if everyone else is having fun, like I'm okay with this.
This is blast. This is a blast from the past. Yeah, I mean Emily and Josie. I mean they're pretty. Again, especially considering they're my age. Hey, I'd have a chance with them. So yeah, that's always cool.
I feel like Kiana or Keanu. I keep going back and forth on how you pronounce her name, but I thought she looked good.
How'd it happen? Because I made a comment about Lee, and the chat just took off. And I'm slap happy. What can I say? So
flawless. I give her a thumbs up.
That's the thing. I should legit make the video because if people like I see on Survivor, you hear all the time how the cast are ugly now compared to before. Well, hell, we can prove that Hell's Kitchen chefs are attractive. You should watch. That would boost the rankings. That would boost the ratings for this.
Honestly, I don't usually think about looks when it comes to the contestants because that's not like I want to be judging them based off of like gameplay otherwise, and I sometimes consider that maybe a little superficial, but I like in all good fun at the very least, like just saying like who we thought might have been most attractive, that's fine. That's not going to be my way of saying like that you have to be attractive to win these games or for me to want to watch it. If that's how you watch these videos, I don't agree with that at all. But
right.
But again, it's just like a fun back and forth like this. Like I'm fine with that, obviously.
Guys, let me know if I should actually do like a video on this. Yes, it's gonna be yes. Now I have to. I feel like I have no choice. Whether I do like hottest cast or
hottest at one point. I'm not gonna lie, I don't quite see it, but maybe it's because she had some pretty intense looks.
No, Cass, let me know if you guys can do the work for me. Let me know which like hot contestants are like still single, and that way I'll like put them on my top 10 video, and
honestly,
then you can all share. No, hold on. Then you can all like share the video with like them, and then that improves my odds. That will improve my odds, right? Yo, this is perfect. Okay, this has to happen now. There's no going back too. Because for those of you who don't know, I've actually been working on another video. It's been giving me a lot of problems with copyright and whatnot, so I'm kind of getting behind my videos. This would be a fun little video to make. Yo, I'm definitely gonna make this. I need to make this as short or something, right? Okay, we'll call it there. It's been an hour or so. Oh my God, this is yes, Party Pickles, help me out, help a brother out. Like I said, I know, like I said, Lee's taken, but if Carmen and Sammy are still single, let's go. Let's get them. I don't think they're too. I'm 23, right? I turned 23 in August, so they're.
I'm 27. I turned 28 in a few months, though.
She's only like 6 years older than me. Sammy's 25, so we can make this happen, right? So, all right, smash our pass. Okay, this is getting out of hand, guys. Thank you, guys. I can't express this enough. Thank you so much for this. I mean, I know we kind of got out of hand there, but the reason why I got out of hand because I was not expecting that much viewers for just us two. And, especially this episode looked kind of boring to start, but we ended up getting a lot of talk about this episode. Obviously, you guys were here throughout, so thank you so much. And thanks for this discussion. Stuff is like this is why I love doing this type of stuff. Like, you just would never get something like this anywhere. You know what I mean? The fact that, I don't know if you agree, Ultra, the fact that we just did this for the last 15 minutes is hilarious.
I don't mind personally. Like, I'm surprised, but I'm not going to say, like, I didn't like. No, I was like, that's kind of interesting. Like, what do I think about that? Although, we should never do that for ugliest contestants because that would just be that would just be mean, very mean.
That's the first time everyone says I look younger than I am, but yeah.
Yeah, everyone thinks I look a lot younger than my age. I don't know.
No one's ever said I looked older than I am. That's a first. Good.
You look like you're 21, Ultra. I'm not like I'm a lot older. I just don't look it, and I probably don't even act it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean. All right, cool. So that improves my chances. Hey, if I look older than I am, hey, that helps me even better. Okay, cool. Guys, thank you so much. This was like literally one of the best streams, most fun I've ever had so far. But regardless, the stream itself was a lot to talk about. Any other comments for Ultra, whether it's about attractive contestants or the episode, whatnot? Any other final comments?
For me personally, again, even for an episode that might have had a couple like slower moments in the middle, I'm happy with what we got. I'm sad to see the two people we had go home. And again, I just can't wait for the next episode.
That's the thing. This season's, even in the boring episode, this season's still delivering and still, shocking me and whatnot. You know what I mean? So still having fun. The chat next week's going to be hilarious next week if they're on my ass about this. So, all right, cool. Guys, this was hilarious. Thank you so much. I was not expecting this at all. this type of videos, these type of nights make me so thankful for where I am in life. So thank you all so much. And I'll definitely do this video. You guys have convinced me, right? So take care, everyone. Thank you all so much for this great stream. And I'll see you next time. All right. And we are ended stream. It's still on.